Hi guys, it's Miss Enfield here, and today we're going to work on Amplify Lesson 2.1. So by now I hope everyone knows to go to Clever to get to Amplify. We'll click on Amplify. Then we're going to go to Microbiome. And now we're moving on to Chapter 2. Lesson 2.1, which is reading the human microbiome. And today we're going to start with our warm-up. And this has to do with what we did on Thursday or yesterday's lesson, which was observing microorganisms. So here you see the petri dish from the virtual lab you observed, and now it's set for 9 days. So go ahead and answer these two questions here. Click hand in once you're done, and then come back to the video. So go ahead and pause, answer these, hand it in, and then come back to this video. Now that the warm-up is done, we are going to move on to reading the human microbiome. So if you click on activity number 2, it's going to tell you a little about active reading, but we're not going to use the same format that Amplify teaches, so you guys can ignore this stuff, and I'm going to show you how we want you to actively read in just a second. So now we're going to move on to activity number 3. And as you can see here, we have another vocab word, which is a microbiome. This is all the microorganisms that live in a particular environment, such as a human body. So your human body could be considered a microbiome. So if you want to take a second, and we're going to add this vocab word to our OneNote. So again, to get to OneNote, you're going to go into Teams. You're going to hit the purple one, our OneNote. You're going to find your notebook. Once your notebook loads, you're going to go down and you're going to add another page. Oh, and I think we can drag this, move it down. Maybe not. Yep, there we go. And then you're going to call this one 2.1. So now we're on to chapter number 2, and we're still in microbiome. So it can still be under this section. And then to find the vocab word picture to copy and paste in, you're going to go to Teams, and it'll be on Friday's post. So today's post. This is last week, so it won't be the same pictures, but it'll be a post just like this, and then you can do your copying and pasting and put it in OneNote. So once you guys have that done, go ahead and pause the video and complete that, and then once you have it done, come back to the video and we'll go into active reading. Now that our new vocab word is added into OneNote, we're going to move on to active reading. And just a reminder, everything in OneNote is going to be super handy when you guys have any tests. You want to make sure that you're keeping your OneNote up to date. It's almost like a cheat sheet for you guys, because you can always go back and see what we learned in Chapter 1, Chapter 2, and even the stuff before Chapter 1, that first week or two of school. So make sure you're keeping this up to date. So now we are going to go into actively reading the human microbiome. And again, Amplify is going to tell you all about active reading. It's going to tell you what their guidelines are. And ours are going to be a little bit different, so don't worry about any of this. Let's go ahead and click on the article. And I'm going to tell you guys what to highlight and then what color to highlight stuff. So this article is called The Human Microbiome. So that's going to be the topic. Our main topic is the human microbiome. So if you just highlight it, you can just click it and drag it across, and then you're going to be able to highlight it. You can click highlight. We'll try that again. There we go. So we have the topic highlighted, and we're going to want to make it green. So make sure that it's green, because this is going to be a theme that we'll use throughout the semester. We're always going to highlight the topic green. And now we're going to go on and we're going to keep reading. So World Inside You. So this is like the title of a little section of this reading. So you could also call that a subsection. So each subsection or subtopic, you're going to want to highlight yellow. So now go ahead and click and drag, highlight. There we go, now it's highlighted, but we want it in yellow. So you're just going to click the button, and then you can change it to yellow. So now we're going to start reading, and we're going to look for supporting details that support our unit that we're reading about. And when we find supporting details, we're going to want to highlight them in red. So we're going to start reading. There's a world filled with strange creatures. The creatures of this world are invisible, and they're not human. Aliens sometimes threaten to invade the world these creatures call home. This is not a far off planet. It's your body. These creatures are called microorganisms, and your body is home to more than 100 trillion of them. Microorganisms live on your skin, in your gut, in your nose and mouth, and pretty much everywhere else on and in your body. So let's take a second, and we're going to look for any supporting details. So let's see. These creatures are called microorganisms, and your body is home to more than 100 trillion of them. So that kind of supports that there's a world inside us. So we have a bunch of microorganisms living on us. So I think we should highlight this piece red, because red, because it is a supporting detail. I'm going to go highlight, then we're going to change the color by clicking on it, make it red, and keep looking for more supporting details. So if we go back up to this first few sentences, the creatures of this world are invisible. So I think that's important to know that they're invisible, that they're so small because they're microorganisms. So I'm going to highlight invisible. And they're not human. They sometimes threaten to invade the world these creatures live, or these creatures call home. Alright, we're going to keep looking. So microorganisms live on your skin, in your gut, in your nose, mouth, and pretty much everywhere else. So I think that's pretty good so far. And then once you're done reading a section, you always want to summarize it. So if you want, you can add in a note just by clicking, hit the note, and then you can type up a summary. So to summarize, I'm just going to make a few notes for myself, so that way when I come back to refresh myself on what this article was talking about, I can read this summary, and then I can also look at the highlighted pieces that I read through. So I'm going to say they're invisible. They're called microorganisms. Your body is home to more than 100 trillion of them. You can save it, and then just keep doing that throughout the entire article, and that's how you actively read. So if you wanted to change something, let's say you're like, I don't think this sentence is actually very good supporting evidence, so you can click it and just hit delete, and it deletes it highlighting. You're like, I think this sentence that they live on your skin, in your gut, in your nose, in your mouth, I think that's better. That has better supporting details. So you highlight that. Something that you don't want to do is highlight a whole paragraph. So maybe you read this and you're like, oh man, I think all of this is important. I think it should all be highlighted. You highlight the whole thing. Well, that's not very helpful, because then you don't actually know which parts of this paragraph are the most important parts. So it's kind of easy to do, but you don't want to do that. So you're going to click it, delete it. This is already highlighted, so you're going to have to delete, got double highlighted. Click it again, And then just highlight what you think is the best supporting details, not the whole thing. And another neat thing on here is vocab words. So you have a couple words and they are blue and they have a dotted underline underneath them. So you can click it and it tells you what they are. So if you read this and you're like, oh man, I don't know what bacteria are. So you can click it and it'll tell you. So bacteria are tiny organisms that are made of a single cell. Then it gives you Spanish also. But to recap, our topics are going to be green, our subtopics are yellow, our supporting details are red or pink. You're going to want to summarize what you highlight after you highlight it. You want to make sure not to highlight everything. So if you come down here, this would be another subtopic. So that would be yellow. Keep going down, find some supporting evidence, make it red. And down here, here's another subtopic. Make it yellow, find some supporting evidence. So go ahead and actively read this whole article and highlight stuff on your Amplify. So pause the video, go do that, and then come back to me. Alright, now that you have actively read the Human Microbiome, we're going to move on. So we're going to skip activity number 4. We're going to move on to activity number 5. So here you can see the article that you just marked up with highlighter. You can see what you highlighted. And you're going to come down here and you're going to answer these 2 questions. And once you're done, you're going to make sure to click hand in down at the bottom. Great. So to summarize today, you guys started out with the warm-up. You went on to learning about active reading. You added a vocab word to your OneNote. And you completed this homework down here. So that is all for today. I hope you guys all have a great weekend, and I will talk to you on Monday.